To be able to warp your FABfiber Mini Frame Loom, you will need your FABfiber Mini Frame Loom, yarn, pickup stick, comb, multi-size needles, bobbin, scissors, and small dowels. Before we begin, there are two key terms that you will need to know. When weaving, you have your warp threads and your weft threads. Your warp threads run vertical on your weaving structure and your weft threads run right and left, or as we like to refer to it as, white and weft. Alright, let's get started. First, take a very durable yarn and tie a slip knot in one end. Place the loop over one corner of the frame loom. From here, there are two different ways that you can warp your loom. Method number 1. Wrap your yarn around the tooth on the opposite side of the original slip knot and across your frame loom. Continue looping your yarn from one tooth to another until the entire loom is covered. Take the two loose ends and tie them together. From this point, you can use the pickup stick to separate every other yarn strand to be able to weave your design. Method number 2. Wrap your yarn from the slip knot to the opposite side of the loom, around the back of the loom, and over the top. Continue to wrap your yarn completely around the frame loom until you fill the loom. Wrap your yarn around the opposite corner of the frame loom than the original slip knot. Cut the yarn and tie it to the loose thread with the opposite slip knot. For this method, you will only weave on the front side of the loom and not on the back. Now onto the wefting process. Using your pickup stick, separate the warp threads of your frame loom to easily begin wefting. There are 3 different ways that you can choose to weft your FABfiber Mini Frame Loom. Method number 1. Using your fingers, pull your wefting yarn from one side of the loom to the other. Method number 2. Thread one of your needles using your wefting yarn and guide the needle through the warp threads of your loom. Method number 3. Load your chosen yarn onto the bobbin in a crossing pattern as shown. Once loaded, use your bobbin to guide the threads through the threads of your warp. Once you have a chosen method, continue to use your pickup stick to separate the layers of warp threads and thread your weft from one side to the other. To finish off your woven piece, there are 2 methods that you can use. Method number 1. Using your scissors, cut the top portion of the warping fibers and remove the piece from the frame loom. Push the wefting threads toward the bottom of the piece or place a small dowel through the loops of thread. Finally, tie the groups of the warp threads together to create a fringed look. Method number 2. Carefully remove the woven piece from the mini frame loom. Take 2 small dowels and insert them through the top and bottom loops of the piece. Adjust the wefting thread to fit between the dowels nicely. Congratulations! You just used your FABfiber Mini Frame Loom to create your first woven piece. Feel free to visit us at dcfabfiber.wordpress.com to view our updates, our other tools, or to send us an email. Thank you for supporting FABfiber.